Hello, I'm Food Daniel. What we're doing today is just a reiteration of what I've done before. We're going to take an ordinary riff, and by changing just one limb, we're going to turn it into something extraordinary. In this case, the riff we're taking is a riff I really like. It's the theme riff to a Judas Priest song called Desert Plains. The drumming that Dave Holland did in that song is very, very catchy. Here's what he's doing. Okay, that riff is easy and fun. To make it just a tiny bit more difficult though, what we're going to do from now on is the right hand, instead of doing eighth notes on the hi-hat, it's going to be doing eighth notes on the ride cymbal, while my left foot is going to be doing quarter notes on the hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a way to get all four limbs in use instead of only three. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now that we've got the riff dialed in, let's spruce it up on the snare drum. What we're going to do here is we'll play the theme riff you just heard for 2 measures, and then we'll do 2 measures of the exact same thing, except the left hand on the snare drum is doing a different solo line. And we'll alternate back and forth like that a few times. For right now, we'll stick to just quarter notes and eighth notes on the snare drum. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, are you seeing how just by changing the notes on the snare drum only, it changes the entire sound and feel of everything that's being done? Okay, we're going to do that same thing over again, except for this time, the snare drum is going to be doing some 16th notes thrown in there, a little more difficult. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now it's very clear that the interplay between the snare and the bass is making the riff sound like something completely different than what we started with, when all along the only thing that's different is the left hand on the snare drum. Okay, let's do that same thing one more time, except this time let's do it much faster, and we'll do the theme riff 4 times and then the solo line 4 times, and just to make it extra different, when we do those 4 solo lines, the second 2 solo lines, we're going to orchestrate the solo line. In other words, instead of playing the entire solo line on the snare drum, we'll move it around the toms. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, not too bad, is it? Okay, let's do something a little different now. Let's do mirror measures. What we're going to do, we're going to play the theme riff 4 times, then we'll play it 2 times with the snare drum doing the solo line, with the ride cymbal doing straight 8th notes, and then 2 more times where the ride cymbal will play the same solo line that the snare drum just got done doing, while the snare drum just does 2 and 4. You'll see what I mean. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fairly clever, isn't it? Now, let's do some more of those, only this time let's do the 16th note exercises. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty fun, isn't it? Now, let's do it one more time, only this time, let's do it at blistering fast speed, and let's orchestrate the fills, both with the left hand and with the right hand. Here we go! 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic, isn't it? Don't you love it? Ah. Okay, and now let's cool down by doing one more new thing. I've replaced the ride cymbal with a cowbell for this one. Instead of doing straight 8th notes on the ride cymbal, On the cowbell, we're going to do 1E and 2 and 3E and 4 and, etc. And we'll do it at a slow tempo with just quarter notes and eighth notes on the snare. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's nice, isn't it? Okay. We've taken a simple and catchy rock riff, the riff to Judas Priest's Desert Plains, and by sprucing up what we were doing on the left hand, and for a little bit with the right hand as well, we've changed it into something completely different. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's no limit to the things you can do. Have fun with it. Whether you're coming up with the riffs off the top of your head, or whether it's something you have to sit down and think about, or whether if you're like me are addicted to mechanical sight reading and you need to grab sheet music, hell, it doesn't even have to be drumming music. Grab music for a different instrument altogether, take one line and plug that into whichever limb you want to spruce up. Of course, some of the solo lines you'll come up with or you'll read will only be useful for practice purposes. They won't really sound particularly good, or they might not feel particularly good. They might feel clunky and cumbersome. But some of them will sound excellent, and you'll want to incorporate them into your own playing with your own band or your own project or whatever. This kind of exploration is the funnest thing in the world. You've got to love it. If you take your drumming as seriously and as passionately as I do, you do love it. Cheers!